What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast. James, I'm doing the intro this week. We're just trying to change things up because things suck. Things are
Yep.
miserable. The Mets just had another horrible series against the Marlins. Edwin Diaz blew another save. Christian Scott got bombed on Friday, and we got shut out by Jesus Luzardo. Once again, salvaged the series and saved it with one win on getaway day for a nice, happy flight home. But it was horrible. The Mets needed to get me right series. They went to Miami, and it was the exact opposite happened. And we're going to talk about it as well as just Mark and I are sad. Knicks just lost. We just had we mourned it on the day in Bushwick, and we're upset about it. But we're going to talk about Mets. We're going to have some media marvels this week. Ron Washington called out former Met, our boy Luis Guillorme. Paul Skenes is like one of the best pitchers in the world. A lot of stuff happened in baseball this weekend. We're going to talk to you guys about it. But first, just make sure you guys are following us on Facebook, Instagram, what the hell?
Facebook.
Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Mets'd, METSDUP. If you want the video version of this podcast, know some of you guys are watching the video version of this podcast. That is YouTube channel at Mets'd. And then, I don't know, is there anything else you say? Spotify, Apple Podcast?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not an intro guy.
Yeah, you're not an intro guy. I mean, you dropped Facebook on us, which was that's the biggest twist that's happened all day, and that included seeing OG Anunoby play 5 minutes and then never touch the court again. Like, oh
Been
my
a
god,
weekend, man.
bad
It's
weekend.
such a weekend. Oh,
good weekend,
guys,
bad weekend.
If you guys are like us and you're Mets and Knicks fans, this was as bad of a sports weekend if you've probably had in the last decade of your life. It was such a gut punch. Knicks lost both games. The Mets got pantsed in a series in Miami, which always seems to happen for no reason in Miami. A team that doesn't deserve to win, a team that you should beat. The whole Edwin Diaz situation is a complete fucking debacle. I don't know. I don't know where to go with this Mets team. We don't even have any notes for you guys this time. We're just going to yap and we're just going to talk, like let our feelings out about the Mets because they're bad and we're upset. And I don't know the recourse. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go.
Yeah, lock in for another 40 minutes of yapping here. It's going to be a yap session for sure. I tweeted out after Edwin Diaz blew the game on Saturday, the Mets fucking suck. And I was like, I hate being that guy. I really do. I hate being negative. I know we've been probably a little more negative than we even like to be. But it's just like, at what point are things going to turn around? And I can't give you the same thing we said before, like last episode of like, well, technically they're only like a couple games out of the wild card. Like I can't give you that speech anymore because we're 47, 48, 49, 50 games into the season, and things just are not going to get better. I mean, like maybe, but like how much, at what point are they going to turn around? Like, and the Edwin Diaz thing sucks because if he didn't blow these 3 saves this week, we talked about this earlier, what a great week of Mets baseball this would be. The Mets would have 3 more wins. You'd be looking at a team that I think was either above or at 500, and things would be feeling differently. But unfortunately, Edwin's just not there right now. And I don't know when, how, if he gets there outside of next season right now.
I think it probably happens before that, but it's even a broader discussion. Like you heard like reports from Steve Gelbs and Tim Healy that Edwin was emotional after the game. That Edwin was like basically beside himself, felt like he left the team down. And like not saying he didn't, but it's also just like this is a guy that was such a rock for so long. Something you can rely on so heavily and so easily. Something that was such a foregone conclusion. Like Edwin Diaz came in the game, you could set a timer on your watch for 6 minutes, 360 seconds, and the game was fucking over. That was it. You didn't have to think about it. You didn't have to watch the TV anymore. You just watched because of how electric he was and how much fun it was to watch him pitch. And it's not the case anymore. And it's kind of like a step ladder where it happens against the Phillies once, and you're like, all right, he blew a save. It happens against the Phillies twice, and you're like, I'm really nervous about Edwin Diaz. Then it happens against the fucking Marlins and Josh Bell, and you're like, oh my god, like this is actually a catastrophe. And I'm blessed, I'm lucky. Saturday I was at a concert most of the day, and I did not have service. And Mark really blew my afternoon by texting me, holy shit, did you see that? And I was like, I just got in service, got to the bathroom, and I was like, what do you mean? And I looked at my phone, and I saw everything, and I was like, oh my god. And I've like spent this weekend I haven't been on Twitter in 2 days. It's been amazing, but I'm gonna have to get back on Twitter eventually. Now I'm just like, I don't want to go back to that cesspool. It's horrible. It's horrible what happened to the Mets this week. It sucks.
Yeah, I was watching the game at a grad party. Shout out Mike, graduation, congratulations. And one of our friends came up to me and gave me a fist bump when it was 9-5 going into the 9th inning. He's like, what's that for? He's like, good win. And I was like, this game is not over. I was like, he just gave up a leadoff double. I don't feel good about this. And I had another friend around me who heard the same thing. I was like, this game's not over. I got a bad feeling. And just as quickly as I got that bad feeling, it happened because Edwin really just did he even get an out? He got maybe 1-2 outs, whatever it was. just got shelled. Josh Bell hitting that home run. They're piecing him up. He pointed to the sky again, which never ends up being the right thing to do. He is in such a blender of emotions and whatever's going on with him right now. Like you said, Steve Gelbs, old Moonface, was talking about how he was crying at his locker. And like the human side of me is like, man, that really sucks. Hate to see that. Doesn't deserve it. All that. But then like the psycho Mets fan part of me goes, God, I don't hear many other players crying. And it's not like a thing at Edwin Diaz. It's just more so, again, this idea of like the Mets just don't have fucking killers. Killers don't cry like that. And it's nothing against Edwin. He has gone through a lot. The injury is super serious and he's battling and he's struggling. He feels like he's letting his team down. So I get it from that standpoint. But also, I almost wish he was more of a like throw my glove, throw a tantrum rather than a cry guy.
I didn't like the way Steve Gelbs reported that. I thought that if a player going through a hard time is like having an emotional moment in the locker room and like what's supposed to be like a private sacred space for an athlete, I think there's a much more apt way to say that than say this player is crying at their locker. I think that just invites, I don't know, it invites bad vibes. I
Invites what
didn't
I
like the
just
way,
said, basically. Like kind of
that's what I'm
being
saying.
like,
Like, and again, like Edwin Diaz is someone who was on the top of this game for a while. Like statistically speaking, he's literally one of the best relief pitchers in the history of baseball, which is
yeah,
crazy to think about in terms of like his strikeouts and his walks and swings and misses and the singular years he's had where he's been on top of his game. But it's just this injury is very serious, and there's something that's not there right now. And then you even just look at his command in this game. Like he left so many sliders in the middle of the plate. Like the Josh Bell home run wasn't such a fat pitch, and it's just I don't know. I thought for Steve Gelbs to say that was kind of I don't know, it was like doom porn a little bit where
mm,
he was trying to like fade in and get the clicks for some shit that's going horribly for the team right now. Again, I didn't like that. And I also
I'll,
just I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't like a lot of Steve Gelbs does.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll
Sure.
defend Steve Gelbs a little bit here in that at least in the like the more context we got behind it, it was more about trying to show that these guys are humans and that they do care. And I think that was his intent was to be like, hey, Edwin Diaz is going through it right now. Like,
Nah,
let's feel
nah,
for this guy. You don't think so?
nah. That's a reporter reporting something that's
Okay.
juicy as fuck, and he
I
knew
mean, it was
exactly what's
juicy.
happening. But again, like Edwin Diaz in this game, he threw 5 pitches left-handed batters, 6. I think those were all the Josh Bell at bat. 5 of the 6 were in the heart of the zone, and 1 of them bounced on the plate. That's just not a guy that has his best stuff right now. That's it. And if you keep putting pitches in the middle of the zone because you can't look at him, I'm gonna talk about the same similar thing with Christian Scott in a little while later in the show. But it's just when you keep giving pitches in hittable locations, like even as good as your stuff is, Edwin Diaz's stuff is still good. It's not exceptional like it was 2 years ago, but still quite good. You keep putting pitches in the heart of the zone, eventually players are going to hit it. Like that's it. That's the heart of the zone. Like it's really bad. I don't know. Like we're gonna do this podcast for a while, but then I'm also like, well, I don't know what the fuck to say about this. It's
No.
really, really, really bad what's happening to this team. And like if Edwin Diaz doesn't blow any saves this week, we're over 500, and we won a series against the Phillies, we won a series against the Marlins. You're going to Cleveland feeling good about yourself, but now you're 4 games under, like a quarter of the way through, and you're just like everyone's looking at each other like who's going to step up, like who's going to make the move, like P. Alonso again is like hitting fine, but like not great. Like Edmund, like Francisco Lindor's batting average dropped back under 200. Like Brandon Nimmo keeps hitting, but he can't do it alone. Like, and he also is still hitting like what 217.
Yeah.
There's this whole vibe of people looking around. Bob Nightingale just reported after the game on Sunday that like executives believe that both Pete Alonso and JD Martinez will be available before the trade deadline, which is July 30th this year. I do not like that they keep moving the day of the trade
Yeah.
deadline.
What?
I liked when we were growing up that July 31st was the Major League Baseball trade deadline. No matter what, I don't, it doesn't matter rain, sleet, hail, snow. July 31st, that's the trade deadline in baseball. The fact to change the day every year, I understand it's probably better for these executives to have it on like a weekday or Wednesday afternoon or Thursday afternoon or something, but I don't like that. But seeing that report in the middle of May, that's more just doom, gloom, bullshit,
Yeah.
like using the mess to get clicks. I hate it. I hate it's what's happening. We even fucking did it on Friday. You guys probably saw the TikTok that
A little
Mark
bit.
and I made. But also we were like, it's fucking
It's
true. Like,
true.
what's wrong with this team right now? Like, why is everything else the focus instead of what's happening on the field? What's happening on the field is horrible and it sucks to watch. And it seems not fun, and they keep losing games, and I hate it.
Yeah, I spoke with again a couple more friends at that graduation party, and they were like, "Still tuning into the Mets as much as you normally would?" I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I am. I'm sick in the head. I watch this team." I was like, "They're like, yeah, I'm not," and I was like, "Let me guess why." Because you watched a couple games and they're not a fun team to watch, right? And they were like, "Of course, this like whether they're winning or losing, they don't play fun baseball either way." And that is the other thing is like the Mets teams have been likable in the past before. The players on this team are likable, but they're just playing such a boring, awful brand of baseball that it's hard outside of us doing this podcast to be like, yeah, I'm going to go watch these games.
No, that's not true. I feel again, they're still good players. I just like the laws of averages. Like I hate to say it, but like things are gonna start tipping better
They
eventually.
have to.
Like
Although
I don't know. Francisco Lindor is the lowest batting average of balls in play in the entire Major League Baseball. Every single player this year who's qualified, he has the
thought the
lowest batting average
Pacers
of
were
balls in
going to
play.
shoot 70% today, and they did. So
Fuck the fucking inbred Pacers. I fucking hate Tyrese Halliburton. God damn it, I hate that fucking team. God, the Knicks. I haven't even mourned the Knicks yet. I'm still just sad about the Mets, and we're doing this show, and like Mark and I had a couple of beverages. I'm just like I haven't even gotten to the mental point where I'm going to mourn that team. But it's just this Mets team day in day out, and even just like talking about Friday. Like I was so excited to watch Christian Scott pitch before the
oh
Knicks
yeah.
game, and then he was leaving a lot of balls in the zone, which is again, this is the thing we talked about, which is the one concern with Christian Scott, which is control over command, where the ball's in the strike zone, but he's not exactly placing on the edges and corners. And my whole thing was eventually that probably comes back to bite him at some point in some outings. I didn't think that was going to come against the Marlins. I didn't think that was going to happen after he shut down the Rays and shut down the Braves. Like I just it sucked. That sucked so bad that happened against the Marlins. But he got bleeped and he got blooped, and his couple of balls, dribblers found holes. And then of all the pitch guys in the world, Nick Fortes hits a 3-run home run, and Scott hangs on through his 4 innings, and like he keeps the Marlins off the board past that. But it's just like, oh damn it, like this is now our stopper. But again, you have to remind yourself he's a rookie still, and it's going to happen. And it's still like there's nothing. I'm no less bullish on Christian Scott long term. Even at the show I was at on Saturday in Williamsburg. Shout out Solomon, great show in the Naval Yard. One of the bartenders was rocking like a really old dirty Mets hat. And like I'm as an owner of a really old dirty like beat up Mets hat. Like when you see an old dirty beat up Mets hat, you're like, how's it going? This was right after you texted me that the Mets blew the game, and he was like, at least we got Christian Scott to watch. And I was like, this was right the day after he got bombed. I was like, you're right. We still have Christian Scott to look forward to. So still excited about Scott, but watching Nick Fortes just hurt our king was painful.
Yeah, Nick Fortes hit a home run in this one. Christian Betancourt, who we were talking about, hit a home run in game 3. I mean, go figure that's the game that they won. But
Jazz.
yeah, Jazz played pretty well. Josh Bell hadn't done anything all year, played well, had that home run. It's just whatever is going on right now with the Mets. I'm tired of the it's going to get better. How about it's going to stop? We're going to play better. Like I'm so tired of the if this happens, if we just stay positive, if we do this, if we do that, even like Harrison Bader talking after the Phillies game. This was something I forgot to mention in that podcast because I was blind with rage still from the series. But he was like, "Yeah, we try to keep a positive attitude around here. We know things are going to turn around." And I'm like, "That's such fucking loser talk. I hate like positive vibes,
You hate
whatever.
positive attitudes?
I hate like the positive vibes only Gary V type bullshit. Like that to me, like not about that. I think that's major loser
I don't think it's the
mentality.
same thing. That's not the same thing.
It got the same feeling of like we know we're good players, we're gonna turn around. I'm like then fucking do it, turn it around. The Marlins are so bad. That team is terrible. They're one of the 3 teams in baseball that legitimately has no chance of making the postseason, and it's fucking May 19th. I will stake my claim on that. If they make the postseason, I'll become a Marlins fan and move to Miami. Whatever. But like they're one of the 3 worst teams in baseball. It's not even close. And you couldn't even score a run in the first game. Then blew the second game. And then even the third game, it's like Sixto Sanchez, you got 4 runs on him, and then you didn't do anything. You lost 8 innings of that game, and you won it because Sixto Sanchez is a fat piece of shit who can't throw strikes. Like that's pretty much all it is.
Wait a second, that's not true. The Mets scored about 4 runs in the ninth inning of that
Oh,
game. Nimmo with the
whatever.
home
They
run.
came back late.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tyron Taylor
forgot
hit the
about the
double.
Brandon
Yeah.
Nimmo thing. But like,
Slow your roll for a second. Don't shit at Sixto Sanchez. Sixto gave those runs in the first inning, but I thought
six.
he probably does as a starter, but he made the team as a reliever. They just made him start because
I
everybody
mean,
got hurt.
true. But like also like at the same time, it's like fucking jump all over this guy. He's bad. They didn't even want him to be the starting pitcher, this team.
The problems in this series lie from again, like if Christian Scott loses a pitcher's duel against Jesus Luzardo on Friday, that's okay. Jesus
Yes.
Luzardo in that game also, don't know if you noticed it, was throwing 94 miles an hour. It
Yes.
was his lowest fastball velocity season. He's
Couldn't
dealt
hit
with
him.
elbow troubles. It seemed like the Mets maybe should have gotten a shot there. And then they switch up the batting order in front on Saturday, which I guess we should talk about too. This new Mets
Yes.
batting order: Lindor, Pete, Nimmo, which is kind of nice. I kind of like it.
They've
I truthfully
scored.
dig it. It's really not bad at all. They've scored, I think, an average of 8 runs per game with the new
Yeah.
lineup. So like maybe we should keep it, but they just the Edwin Diaz blown save is the taste I cannot get out of my mouth.
I
I
can't
can't figure
either.
it out. And like they still found a way to win on Sunday. And Luis Severino definitely wasn't good on Saturday, but it was also the same thing with Mendoza, where he left him in for the seventh inning, where he probably also again should have taken him out. A game Luis Severino very clearly didn't have his best stuff. He missed almost no bats. I think I'm looking at it now. He had five swings and misses the entire game.
Thanks.
It was a sweeper heavy game for Severino. Like the first time he really featured it this year, because I think it was because his cutter and his changeup and his slider, he didn't have feel for any of them. So it was a lot of sweepers. It was, for some reason, the Marlins play a lot of righties, even though they had a lot of lefties in lineup against Scott and Friday. But it's just, it was off. It was bad. And it seems like Mendoza's kind of chasing once in a while. And he left him in for the third time through the order in that seventh inning. And the Marlins got to him. And that's what even made the game closer than it ever should have been. And when Diaz came in the game, in a game that, not saying again it's anybody else's fault, but it should have been nailed down anyway.
Yeah.
It's just the Mets almost, when they're winning, they're like, let's really push the envelope and like really push this victory. But it's like
Yeah.
just bite down, cut the neck, slit the throat, let the blood pour out, and win the game. But I don't know if they have that.
No, like you said earlier, I really wish I knew what I wanted to talk about more, but this team is just it's sucking the life out of me. Like it is so, and between that and then like the Knicks and the Rangers too, of like actually caring about like really important games right now, draining then to turn this team on and see them play the way they have been playing.
It's a bit of the group chat. On my cousin, shout out Matt and Robbie. It's just right now where it's like, who are the Mets? Like, what's baseball? Like, I don't even
Yeah,
know. Like,
who are they?
I don't know. God, I know you guys don't want to listen to us like pontificate about the Knicks, but the Knicks losing two games this weekend when they were up 3-2 in this series. Jalen Brunson breaking his hand, OG getting hurt, missing the whole series, and my one fucking Pacers fan friend, I'm not even shouting him out. Fuck you, Ross. Like he just texting me nonstop college about all this shit about how much better the Pacers are than the Knicks. I'm like, all guys are hurt. The whole team's injured. Like this shit sucks, but God. And this Knicks team, it was so funny to have a juxtaposition against what's going on this Mets season right now. Because this Knicks team this year, anybody out there that's a Knicks fan, this is some of the most fun I've had
Oh
for a
yeah.
professional sports team I've rooted for in decades. My entire adult life. Going back, I was like telling it to Mark before, it's probably the 2015 Rangers, it's 2014 Rangers, 2015 Mets, 2010 Jets. Like these were the moments where I was like, I can't wait to watch this team play in like the middle of the
Yeah.
season, like the 50% mark. I'm like, I can't wait to watch Jalen Brunson at the time, OJ Anunoby and Julius Randle, like just body players up, and for this season to end like this, still a great season. Bad taste in the mouth, and then the flip on the Mets, and it's just like, it's painful. And again, it's so annoying because so many things, especially I'm going to keep harping on this game Saturday. So many things went well. Every hitter for the Mets, 4 through 9, had a base hit, and almost all of them had multiple base hits. Tomas Nido hit two balls hard. Jeff McNeil had two hits. Jeff McNeil started swinging the bat a little bit better. Our boy Jordan, we got knob watch. He said Jeff went back to his old bat. And he
Why the
sure looks
fuck
like he's
wasn't he
going to.
using that all
No,
the
he
time?
went back to it. Went back to
Yeah.
the old bat. So shout out Jordan Simpson, Mets music. You guys definitely see him on Twitter all the time. He's knob watch. He's a bat hound. But Jeff has finally looked better. Like JJ Martinez hitting the ball really well right now. Vientos has come up and he's done
He's
what
it.
should have happened with Vientos. He's playing against the lefties, and the defense isn't great, but he's hitting the lefties reasonably well. He had two smoked balls off Braxton Garrett. Marte's getting hits now in the bottom of the order, which is like, as his OPS is like 690, which again is league average right now because no one could hit in baseball. That's nice. Harrison Bader's on base every single game. He hits the ball up the middle. I feel like every fucking time I watch him. There's something just so wrong. I don't know
So
why we can't
wrong.
put it together. I don't know where the chemistry's weird. I don't know if the players are weird. I don't know if the organization's weird. It's just, it looks like it's a trying effort every night. You could feel Gary and Keith getting annoyed
Yeah.
too. It's just like there's like this kind of like feeling in this organization that's not going anywhere.
Do you think that the frustration and the way that we feel is also because this is now like the third, fourth, fifth time we've seen these guys playing together, and it's just we're having the same questions that we've had, except for that one year, 2022, where it's like, why isn't this working? Like, is that maybe why it's frustrating, and we're getting so tired of it? Like, it's because it's kind of the same bunch of guys running out there and still not doing anything.
I mean, I guess that's just humans. We like new toys. We like shiny
Yeah,
objects. And the fact that this is the fifth year, the sixth year that we've had, again, Lindor came a little bit later, but the Alonso, Nimmo, McNeil triumvirate, like as the core guys, it's been 2 winning seasons in 5 years, 0 playoff series victories. So it's just, but also like, is that like toxic? I don't know if that's
I
toxic
don't
because these
know.
guys were all still objectively good players. Like I don't know what to say about Francisco Lindor right now. I just don't. The guy's hitting 195 and through 200 plate appearances. I don't know what to say. I know he should be better. His BABIP is the lowest in the league. That's batting average on balls in play. He has the worst batting average in all of baseball when he makes contact, which is insane. All of his expected stats say he's getting tremendously unlucky. And watching him play, I feel like he hits balls hard. They don't find holes. But I'm also just like, Why aren't your stats better?
Yeah.
And he's still playing fantastic defense, but I'm like, why aren't your stats better? And I watch Pete Alonso. I'm like, okay, you have 2 good weeks, 2 bad weeks, 2 good weeks, 2 bad weeks. I'm like, why aren't your stats better? And like Nimmo's hitting the shit out of the ball right now, and I love Brandon Nimmo, but it's also just like
Why aren't
stats
your
aren't
stats
good.
better?
And then Nimmo has a situation on Saturday which really fucked the Mets. Mendoza got some unwarranted shit for this. I didn't like that, but he was out sick for 2 days. I think there's been a stomach bug going around the Mets locker room, which is like, of course, there's stomach bug
Yeah,
going
why
around the Mets
wouldn't there
locker
be?
room.
Yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't everybody be having diarrhea right now in the Mets locker room after playing and watching the team every single day? And he said he was having stomach convulsions late in the game, and people noticed. He had to come out, and we lost the DH
Yeah.
because Tyrone Taylor, who came in, and he had to go Nimmo for left field. So then we had a pinch hitter, DJ Stewart, hitting against Tanner Scott in the 10th inning when the Mets really needed a hit. And it's just like, oh my God, this comes back to all the short bench stuff the Mets just, that's, we talked about the last few episodes of the team. It's just like, how does this shit keep happening? Like, again, if you're having stomach convulsions, I probably don't want you on the field anyway. But it's
Yeah.
like, you're having stomach convulsions now? Like, I'm not holding against Brand Nimmo, but this right now in the 10th inning, you're having stomach convulsions. Like, what the hell? Like, I don't know. It's just,
Jake Diekman's a stomach guy too. He was probably like, this is when it's happening. Like, I've got
God,
colitis, I've got Crohn's.
I don't know how this shit just keeps happening. Like such insane shit happens to the Mets all the time. Like I had the tweet that
It's
went viral a
exhausting.
month a month ago now, where they're just like regular teams. Oh my god, baseball's fun. Let's play. And the Mets is just like SpongeBob Silent Hill, like in a dark room
Yeah.
with shadows all around me. It's like I don't. I turn on SNY at night, and I don't know what the fuck is going to happen. And I'm not excited. I'm a little bit scared.
Oh, terrified, frustrated, bored. It's all the things that
Don't
like
want to do.
aren't good. All the things, all adjectives to describe things that are bad is how I feel. Bored, disinterested.
I I I don't know if the Mets are going to play Trumpets next time Edwin Diaz pitches in Citi Field.
I don't think they should.
There were conversations again, like we really leaned into this shit. We're trying to make some TikToks and get some views. You guys know that. So the lifers, you're with us. We got a lot of shit in our comments. Don't read the comments, but people were like, "You guys are part of the problem," which I honestly agree. We are part of the problem, like making a TikTok like that,
Sure.
100%. But again, after the game, when Edwin says he's willing to pitch in the 7th and the 8th inning to get his mechanics and his timing right, and Mendoza echoes that, are they going to tell Mets production maybe don't blare the LED lights and do
Oh,
strobes when Edwin Diaz comes in the 7th inning in a 6-run game? Like, I don't know. And
oh,
then you watch Reed Garrett pitch on Sunday, and he's completely fucking lights out, electric
oh
again,
yeah, he's
pitching
sick.
on back-to-back days, 2 inning save. But it's just like, now does he have to pick a song? Like, I don't know. I want Edwin Diaz to be okay because he's so good. I know how much he cares, and this is painful because he's so awesome. It sucks, and I can feel how mad he is. And the whole game on Saturday, you felt his heart rate. And he had something he said after the game on Thursday that we didn't mention because we were doing the podcast right away. And he said in the post game that I didn't realize, and shame on me for not realizing it, but this is the first time he's ever pitched with the pitch clock. And Edwin Diaz traditionally is one of the slowest guys to home plate through 2022 and 21. And that's a hard thing for you, especially when a guy like Edwin Diaz who throws max effort every single pitch. Like the pitch clock's a big deal because you're not resting as much in between your pitches. So that's probably is something elevating his heart rate. There probably is something that's screwing with his command. That is something that's screwing with his timing. And it's not an excuse, but it is something that I was like, oh my god, I didn't even realize that because he missed all of last year.
Yep. Yeah, that was I think even last episode I mentioned how Mendoza's like, well, we saw that he's slowing things down a little bit, and it didn't even remotely cross my mind about the pitch clock.
And he was back in Marlins Park.
I
And
know.
SNY tweeted it before
I
the inning. I looked
know.
up, I was like, what are you guys doing? Again, social media person working that job. They're probably a wage worker who's just like probably kind of funny and probably loves the job they're having, probably a dream job situation. They get to tweet Mets games and live tweet Mets games. But that tweet to say is the first time Edwin Diaz has been back in Marlins Park since the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
What the hell? Like, what an omen that is.
Uh, God, I wish the Knicks won. That I could at least pretend I could be happy talking about this then
If
at
the Knicks won, I'd
least.
be vibing right now. I'd be chill. But now
Yeah.
I'm just not.
No, I'm not. Now I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm frustrated. I'm whatever. This Mets team is so frustrating. This season's so long.
I'm gonna ask you a question right now because it's still
Okay.
May 19th. There's still a lot of time to go, and the Mets have had bad weeks and good weeks and bad weeks and good weeks. We have what 8 weeks until the actual trade deadline
Yeah.
on August 1st. Is Pete Alonso in the Mets lineup?
No.
No, you think he's
I
not? You think totally
I
gone.
th- I think Pete's gone. I think Pete's traded on August 1st. To me, the trajectory that this team's going and the way that the Mets seem to think about things, like Steve Cohen last year citing, like we ran the numbers and there was like an 11% chance that we still even make the playoffs if we keep these two guys with Verlander and Scherzer. That I think it's going to be like a cost benefit analysis type thing where it's like we hold on to Pete Alonso. No one's coming to the games anyway because his team stinks, and we know that winning is the ultimate marketing, not trumpets and lights and all that nonsense. What does it actually do to keep him here? How much better can we be? And just because we trade him doesn't mean we can't bring him back. Like I know that's always like the crazy theory everybody has. Oh, we'll trade him and re-sign him, and most of the time it doesn't
There's
work.
no way.
Most of the time it doesn't work. But he's having such a weird year where again, and if he turned down 7 for 158, like the reported deal,
We've got more reporting on that now. Pat
okay.
Ragazzo, shout out Pat Ragazzo in the Mets'd
What did Pat
Trust
drop
Tree
on us?
reported this. It happened last summer,
Okay.
pre-Boris, pre-Stearns. So
Okay.
really is a total non-story that's being blown out of proportion.
Super non-story then. All right. Super
Yes.
non-story. But let's just say that that's what Pete wants more than that. I don't know how many teams are going to offer him more than that. So it's like, what is his market really? The only thing is, and we talked about this when we did that entire video about trading Pete Alonso, is what can you actually get back for him? And it's not that he has no
Don't know.
value. It's just first basemen they don't get stuff back. Paul Goldschmidt was traded for a bag of balls, like Luke Weaver, Carson Kelly, and Andy
Luke
Young.
Weaver's awesome. One of the best relievers in baseball right
Yeah,
now.
wasn't with the Diamondbacks, that's for sure. So like, what what do you get back for Pete? And how many teams are really interested in Pete that could use him? I know you can use him at the DH spot. That opens it up a little bit more. But you look at the good teams and you're like, yeah, I don't know if a big lumbering first baseman's the guy that they need right now.
It's also just it's if a team's not going to sign Pete because they still expect him to test free agency, how much do they actually give up to get Pete?
Exactly.
And we're going to talk a lot about the trade deadline, what happens. We can't do this every single episode. But again, as shitty as it sounds, right now on Fangraphs and National League, the Mets have the sixth best odds to make the playoffs.
That's crazy.
Yes. Wait,
What?
six? I might be wrong. One, two, three, four, five, six. Eighth best odds to make the
That makes
playoffs.
more sense. That's not
22%.
okay.
But that's still, again, at the end of the day, a fringe playoff team. It's one playoff spot. The Nationals got swept again this weekend. Nationals not a good baseball team.
No.
They played well. It's the Mets. It's the Cardinals, who suck. It's the Pirates, who we're going to get to later. It's the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants. That's it. That's the National League. All those teams have there's two spots for all those teams.
All those
Oh,
teams would
and the
like Pete
Cubs. And the
Alonso.
Cubs. Two, yeah, exactly. All those teams would like Pete Alonso. But it's two spots for all those teams. I don't think the Mets are much worse than any of those teams. Maybe the Cubs now, if Shota keeps being as good as he is. But it's just like this is still just like it's between a 75 and 85 win team. Just the same way it was in January, the same way it was in February, the same way in March and April. And now we're in May.
I know.
And
We
now
talked
it's just a
about how
bad
much you
time.
gotta love baseball to watch this team, and I'm like, I love
Now they're
baseball.
testing it.
You're testing me hard. This is the biggest test I've ever had watching this Mets team.
I thought they would be a lot more fun to watch this year.
I
I
thought they'd
really
be
did.
way more fun. I thought they'd be
I
fun in losing. They're not fun in losing.
I didn't think Lindor was going to hit 190. I didn't think Nimmo was going to hit 210. I didn't think Starling Marte, again, Starling Marte has actually been better than
Jeff
expected.
McNeil's hitting 220.
I didn't think Jeff McNeil would not be a Major League Baseball player. I didn't think that, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't think Edwin Diaz would blow half his save opportunities. It just sucks. It sucks. This team's sucking the life out of me. And it's painful. I'm gonna watch the whole season. I'm
Of
not gonna
course,
stop.
yeah.
I'm not gonna stop watching the team. I'm going to watch every single game the rest of the season. But it's painful. It's painful. But I don't know when to stop and I don't know what to do about it.
I don't know either. I don't know. You wanna talk about media marvels? I'm done talking about
Yeah.
this Mets team.
Down and move on. The series sucks.
Yeah, this series sucks. We got the Guardians preview coming up after this, but media marvels, your guys' maybe second favorite segment that we do on the show. I think the prospect report does the best, but media marvels is fun. We get to talk about just stuff going on in the world, stupid idiots
Baseball.
saying things. First one being Ron Washington calling out Luis Guillorme,
Fuck
which
on Washington.
I don't know if you're going to put the sound clip or not, James. I'll let you decide. You're going to be the editing guy here. No pressure.
Yeah,
But
I'll grab it.
Ron Washington basically called out Luis Guillorme for not getting a suicide squeeze down on a bunt on a pitch that was really,
Safety.
really hard. Yeah, safety squeeze to on a pitch that was really difficult. Ended up, causing outs and whatnot.
He can handle the bat. He didn't do the job. It wasn't anything I did wrong. He didn't do the job. Why are you making excuses? He was throwing the ball in the strike zone. He did not get the bunt down. Period.
It's just like a weird, like, why the fuck do you hate Luis Guillorme moment kind of thing. Maybe don't bunt as well.
It was a shitty moment because that safety squeeze would have tied the game for the very bad Angels. The Angels right now are in a universe where they're like not even playing the same sport as anybody else.
Yeah,
Like they're just out here with bad baseball players, failed prospects, cast
no
off
vibes.
relievers, bad pitchers, Ron Washington, who doesn't even know what a Word document is, and they're just trying to play old school baseball. And there was a pitch thrown. Who was it against? The Cardinals? I don't remember who it was against. This team with the red jersey, but it was a safety squeeze attempt, and the pitch was in the other batter's box. Luis Guillorme was supposed to get it down. It was like a slider way out from a lefty, like way, way, way out of the way. And Luis Guillorme, as you guys know, is a lefty. The pitch failed away, and Luis basically threw his bat at the ball, missed the bunt. The runner coming third base was tagged easily. And Ron Washington gets on the microphone. I understand it's because I think it's Brandon Drury is coming off the IL this week. So I think they're fully know they're going to cut Luis Guillorme,
Yeah.
which that sucks. They're treating our boy this way. But he gets on the microphone and he just says, he didn't do the job. I did it right. That guy sucks. It's like, what? Get the hell out of here. Like, what kind of manager is supposed to throw a player under the bus, especially a
Yeah.
player that's like a gritty grinder, a player that just came into your locker room? It's just, that was so ugly and so gross from like a lifetime manager, like a lifetime baseball guy. That was awful. I hated to see that shit.
It felt weird. It felt unnecessary. Again, like bad Angels team. Luis Guillorme is new to the team. Difficult play. Should he have done better? Maybe, sure. But like, this is the hill you're going to die on, Ron Washington. Luis Guillorme versus you feels weird.
It's just loser energy from Ron Washington's being like, that guy fucked up. I
Yeah.
did
I
my
didn't.
job. I
I made
called
the
the
right decision.
perfect play. This
Yeah.
was the safety squeeze was the best thing I could have possibly done. Fuck you, Ron Washington. That was so shit. I hate when managers like that throw their players under the bus. Like, you should always be, and I think Carlos Mendoza does a great job of this with the Mets. Like, you should be the last line of defense for your players.
Yes.
You should take everything. Like, you should put your walls up. And if the media, if anybody tries to get after your players, you're the protector. You're the saver. You run the locker room. That's your job. And you're going out to the public, the media, and you're chastising Luis Guillorme on the veterans minimum, who was released a week ago. You decide to pick up on your team. That's so horrible.
It's like the exact opposite of like when you call out like Mike Trout. And it's like, if I can call out Mike Trout, everybody's held accountable. It's like, if I call out Luis Guillorme.
No, that's what it
Yeah.
is. It's loser energy for a loser, Ron Washington. But I don't know. That was an annoying one. The next media marvel, I'm the media marvel myself, as well as a lot of other people in baseball
Fair.
media who were not the most ambitious about Paul Skenes as he came to the minor leagues last year. Skenes came from the Air Force, and then he went to LSU, and he had an amazing year at LSU in 2023. And he came to the Pirates. I think he threw 3 or 4 professional innings and had no command and got touched up and like high A or low A or something was bad. Came to the minor leagues this year, completely dominated AAA, had a 50% strikeout rate. Now he's come to the major leagues. He just had a perfect game through, I think it was 5 innings. I think he struck out the first 7 batters he faced. It felt like Kerry Wood all over again, but the team did the right thing and actually took him out of the game. And it was just like, oh my God. And again, shame on myself for kind of getting sometimes a little bit too obsessed with pitching rhetoric and all that kind of stuff and being like, oh my God, this guy throws 102 miles an hour. It doesn't matter what his fastball looks like. And also, maybe it'll matter when he's 29, but right now he's 22. So who the fuck cares? So call myself out for that. I'm not infallible. I'm the media marvel.
Hand up. Well done. Yeah, I'll call you out on that one too. Sometimes you're a little too numbers guy. You're a little too numbers guy sometimes. Sometimes you gotta watch the boy play, and every single chance he ever played, you're like, oh my God, nobody hits this guy because
I watched him play a ton too. It's just my fault. I never even said anything bad about it. I think there were a lot of people out there who were much worse than me. My whole thing was just like, I don't think he's like a top 10 overall prospect in baseball.
Yes, that's what you're thinking.
My whole thing was like, I would have considered Cruz or Langford drafted ahead of him last year.
Now that being said, Paul Skenes is what, the 5th, 6th best pitcher in baseball, probably.
I was gonna say like 19th, 16th.
Okay, he's top 10, I think.
Maybe he's pushing it. There's a lot of really good pitchers in baseball. Like, he's not better than Luis Castillo. Do you think he's better than Luis Castillo?
No. Okay, that's fair. Well,
okay, so that's 10.
Fine. All right, then he's top 20. He's top 20. Yeah.
Do you think he's better than Logan Gilbert? He's like 12.
Yep. Oh man, it's tough because Logan Gilbert's really good.
So good. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of really good pitchers in baseball.
But Paul Skenes just does things that no other humans do, that throws pitches on the mound as a starting pitcher.
Totally. It's the fact that they have him and Jared Jones staying next to each other. And it's like, oh my God, this team could actually make some noise this summer if Ben Cherington didn't build like the worst starting lineup in all of baseball. It's funny too. I feel
Colorado Rockies.
I guess they're winning too now. I feel bad for Pirates fans because they have like the window was here. It's open. Where if they would have, when they started this rebuild, like 4 years ago, they have the perfect opportunity right now to run through the Central and be the dominant team in that division. They literally have 2 aces, 2 of the 20 best pitchers in baseball in their starting rotation. Like, it feels 2015 Mets-ish, where like if you get into a playoff series against Jared Jones and Paul Skenes, you'll be shitting your pants.
Yeah,
because Jared Jones was 100 miles an hour with like the super rising action and a slider that'll make your knees buckle. It looks like old school DeGrom, where he's only throwing 2 pitches and they're both in the exact same spot, and hitters can't do anything. It's Skenes. Skenes is doing things that most people on earth can never ever do, where he's what's it called? He's throwing a splinker. And a splinker is when you mix the splitter and the split and the sinker. So he's throwing it like 94 miles an hour, but with splitter motion, and it's just freaky and disgusting. Only
Yes.
him and Joan Duran are the only two people on earth who've been able to throw that pitch successfully. And Joan Duran is like one of the best closers in baseball. I gave a big home run today to lose the game to the Guardians, but he's a closer. He
Yeah.
does it for 15 pitches at a time. Skenes just threw 100 pitches across 6 innings in the second major league start, and had the Cubs, the team who's been really good this year, who's been
The only team that's seen him pitch as well.
yeah, that's true. His football starts against the same team, probably the best team in that division, and he made them look like infants.
Oh, yeah.
It's just he again. I forgot how fast 102 was. Hands
So
up for that.
fast.
I'm so happy I didn't dive in like some of the other like super pitching nerds did. And I love the memes. One of my favorite meme formats where it's like an IQ chart where it's like people between like 0 and 70. And it's like the stupid person face, the tongue out, and it's like, damn, that fastball go burr. And then it's like the scoop in the middle where it's like most people are IQ between like 100 and 140.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, his fastball shape is in the dead zone. It's like definitely not gonna be good enough to miss bats at major league level. And then it goes to the geniuses, like the 170 IQ people with the little hold on. It's like fastball go burr.
It's
I
almost like
forgot that.
it's like Wembenyama. It's like everyone's obsessed with like being right, but like having the right take on someone with too much hype, and then you forget that he has this hype for a reason.
I'm watching a video. I was finding the Ron Washington clip on Twitter. Now the top thing in my timeline is Anthony Edwards after beating the Nuggets, pointing at an old white guy sitting courtside in Denver, saying, "Where you at? Where you at?"
No way.
That's awesome. God, the NBA is so cool. Besides the Knicks, but the Skenes thing's amazing. Everyone, the next time Paul Skenes starts, I think it's gonna be this coming Wednesday. Everybody try to tune in and watch Paul
Yeah, it's
Skenes
must-watch TV.
because it's appointment television. Him and Jared Jones pitching that rotation, they're both appointment television. The Pirates have a fun, special thing brewing over there, and they're a team that, again, now that they look pretty good, another thing is going to be harder for the Mets to get past in the wild card race.
Yeah, no, and they could use a first baseman too.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna keep
but
saying that. That's gonna be my annoying thing I do. They could use a first baseman.
and then last meeting Marv we're going to talk about. Last thing, briefly, just get back to horrible, shitty Mets stuff ourselves because we made a TikTok on Friday. A couple people got mad at us about Edwin Diaz. It's the fact that we're just gonna
Yeah.
talk about it. Why not talk about it? We got no plan right now. We're yapping. If you guys are still with us, you're just down here to talk. Yeah, we basically called out the fact that the Mets there's undue pressure on Edwin Diaz right now,
Yes.
and he's simply not himself. And you can kind of feel it last year when he was trying to rush back to throw his inning back on the team, like give the fans the trumpets.
Yeah.
And I still love the trumpets. Trumpets still a really cool thing, but Edwin Diaz he's out of sorts mentally right now. It's more mental and physical, which sucks to think about. And people got mad at us. They thought we were the problem. And maybe we are kind of the problem.
Maybe
But
we are the problem, but I don't think we are. Also, like that TikTok was not. It wasn't as much about Edwin Diaz as it was more about the organization as a whole, and the focus of the organization is not necessarily always on the field, rather than off the field.
they just like do a lot of fun stuff. And fun stuff is cool. I like fun things in my ballpark.
Me too.
But I wish this team was 500.
Yes, which is
And
not.
maybe they will be.
It's not
Maybe they will
asking a
be.
lot. I mean, we're gonna have to
No.
beat the Guardians, who are low
Hot.
key one of the better
Good.
teams in baseball statistically this year. Now, I don't think that's going to stand for the entire year, but the Guardians are playing some good baseball. And James, what do we got for those pitching matchups? This is actually like one of those times we're going to talk about a team we haven't talked about very often.
No, almost never. I can't remember the last time the Mets played the Guardians. I feel like this might be they played them last. Oh, they play them every year now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wait, they came here?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, remember Andres Jimenez? It was,
Oh, yeah, that was a whole thing. But we got pitching matchups Monday, 6:10 games in Cleveland, which I love
Okay.
a 6:10 start time. But 6:10 on Monday, it is Tyler McGill making his triumphant return versus Ben Lively, who's been surprisingly good. He's a junk baller that doesn't throw very hard, so you guys get a good look at him. I feel like he's a change-up slider guy. And then Tuesday, another triumphant return. This is I use this term all the time, guys. Sometimes I use it lightly. Tuesday is the epitome of the ace-off. It's the aciest ace-off we've had as a Mets team this year. So it's Adrian Hauser versus Carlos Carrasco.
Oh, fucking Jesus.
and then Wednesday afternoon at 1:10, Jose Quintana versus Tristan McKenzie. So the Guardians are really getting our best shot. We found a way to put our best three pitchers in the mound for this series. And yeah, and also it's funny because now, like, you play 3-game series in baseball. Mets have a 6-man rotation, so it's McGill, Hauser, Quintana for these 3-game series against the Guardians next Friday night. If you guys want to set your calendars accordingly, Christian Scott versus Kyle Harrison Friday night. Oh, I got to work on Friday. Fuck, I really want to see Christian Scott for Kyle Harris. That's amazing. I'm gonna bring my laptop to the field. I might
Got the
just do that.
Wi-Fi.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I got the press Wi-Fi still. But then that's gonna be Scott Severino Mania. And then next Monday, the Dodgers come to town for a nice Memorial Day game. So our series against the Dodgers, as it lines up right now, is McGill, Hauser, Quintana.
When will it
How cool is that?
stop? When will it stop?
How cool is that? No, that's fun. Don't you like that?
Yeah, I love this Mets baseball team. Let's talk about the Guardians. Emmanuel Clase is back to being disgusting, back to being nasty.
Crazy
Is a
good.
.627 whip. That's insane. That's nuts.
Klaus actually blew the save on Sunday with an unearned run. I forgot who made an error. I feel like wasn't Jimenez. I don't remember who made the error. I
James,
was watching the game while also doing Knicks.
they got some relievers in here with some low ERAs. Which one are you the most interested in that maybe the people don't know and not named Scott Barlow?
I think he's still working back from injury, but he had a really hot start to the year. I don't know if he's back active yet, but Sam Henches is fascinating.
Okay.
Sam Henches is like a 6'9". I think he's a lefty, and he has an explosive fastball. He gets so far down the mound. He extends so much. The fastball is like on your hands in a quarter of a second. But I want to talk about Class A again briefly because I think Class A is just one of those guys that doesn't get talked about enough because he's been the best closer in baseball, one of the best 3-4 closers in baseball for 3 to 5 years now since that the Guardians traded for him for Corey Kluber, which at the time people gave him shit for. But
Yeah.
the Guardians are so good at trading pitchers the moment their arms are about to explode. It's
Yep.
uncanny how good they are at this. Happens every single time. But
They missed Bieber.
they tried to. They tried
did.
so hard to
Yeah.
do him. They tried so hard. But Clase has had a fascinating. I don't want to call it the Renaissance because he was still good last year, but he kind of started to get some shit last year because he got a little strike happy. Where Clase is a cutter guy, and his cutter's so good, it's 100 miles an hour with like 14 inches of movement. But he would just throw in the zone over and over and over and over and over and over again. And he wasn't giving up any walks, but it was a lot of contact. And with throwing that cutter over and over again in the strike zone, it was made contact with a lot. And it wasn't a lot of hard hits and it wasn't a lot of barrels. It just wound up being a lot of dinks and dunks and ground balls that found holes and sinking line drives that wound up in blowing some saves. And I think he had 5 or 6 last year, maybe 7 or 8, like near the top of the league for a guy who had that appearance. But this year, Clase has made a fascinating adjustment to take his cutter out of the strike zone more often. And with that cutter out of the strike zone more often, the quality of contact for him has gotten better. For the hitters, got significantly worse. His chases have gone from a guy who's around league average, slightly below, to one of the highest in the league in chase rate. And ironically, he's walking fewer batters as well. He's cut his walk rate in half. And it was only like 5 or 6%. Now it's like between 2 and 3%. So amazing adjustment from Class A and a good lesson to young pitchers out there, maybe who are like bridging through levels that like if your stuff is that good, you don't have to throw in the zone that often because hitters are not going to be able to hit. I think Clase was a little obsessed with limiting free passes. So he's fascinating. He's one of the best pitchers, one of the best relievers in the league. And he's the pitches that he throws, like most people can't really throw those things. So it's really cool to see. Also, Hunter Gaddis, another very interesting relief pitcher in their bullpen. Gaddis was a starting pitching prospect. He was coming up. I think it was the same draft class as Tanner Bybee. And both of them were kind of shooting through the system at the same time. And Gaddis weirdly had a better fastball than Bybee, but didn't have the same kind of breaking ball stuff that Bybee had. Bybee's whole thing, we're missing Bybee this year. He pitched an incredible game on Sunday. I think he had 7 or 8 strikeouts.
Bybee was 2021. Gaddis was 2019 draft. Both 5th round picks though.
Okay, so I just know they're similar level, similar time. Gaddis 26. He was a college guy. I feel like Bybee was a college guy as well, but Gaddis just has this wonderful, beautiful, explosive fastball. He'll throw middle high in the zone and get past guys. And now in this shorter stint in the bullpen, he's got his slider up to 88 miles an hour, which that slider 88 miles an hour, that suddenly now becomes an out pitch, especially as it's a very solid slider. So he's a really good guy to watch. And a good example of organizational success where I can develop pitchers and maybe they're not going to be the best starters. Let me put them in the bullpen and now they're elite relievers. Henches is the same way.
On the offensive side of things, Josh Naylor's having a great season. He's just one of the better hitting first basemen in the league, low key. Just a very, very good player. Look at third base. Jose Ramirez is still there. He started the year slow, and he has been getting hot as of recent, up to 11 home runs on the year. He was doing a really weird thing early on where he was striking out a ton because he was selling out for power. And he's kind of gone back a little bit more into being more contact oriented, and the power is going to come naturally with him. This is a weird offense, though. Those are kind of the 2 big bats. Stephen Kwan is not going to be playing, I believe, in this series because he is hurt.
He's still out.
But the rest of this team is like league average or below league average hitters. Andres Jimenez is going to be a name you see. He's going to get on base, going to be annoying, make good plays. But like, this is a weird team. I don't really know what I think about the Guardians. I don't know if my opinion's changed on them. But this organization is successful, and they do it with teams like this every single year.
They produce baseball players. The Guardians are famous in baseball circles for pretending they have shortstops, guys who are not actually shortstops.
Yes.
So guys like Brian Rocchio, and Brian Rocchio is playing shortstop right now. He's I think he's fielding okay. I don't know, but he's not hitting very well. But then Tyler Freeman is also in the lineup playing every single day. Just a very boring, little power, little speed combo, league average bat. But it's just, and David Fry right now, who's been their everyday DH. Commons Arlo came up to kind of push him for DH reps, but David Fry has like a 400 batting average on balls in play. He keeps hitting the ball hard enough to make an impact. Will Brennan hit a walk-off home run Sunday against Joan Duran. This team's feeling good. A guy who's just also so completely unspectacular, and someone who I very unfairly hate, because when I was in Italy last month, every single time I watched the Mets game, every single commercial break, they showed a Will Brennan walk-off double in July last year for no reason whatsoever. So I was just like, I can't watch another Will Brennan highlight. But Jose Ramirez is also a funny situation where this is the second time in 3 years. Like, all of his bat the ball metrics have taken a full nosedive, but he still has 11 homers, 7 steals, and it's like 30 RBIs. It's just like he's a pro's pro. He does everything he has to do. And Jimenez too. Like, he is in the spot now where I think he's hitting second or third every single day for this team, especially when they face right-handed pitching, which every pitcher they're going to, except Quintana on Wednesday, we're going to face 2 righties to start the series. He's a baseball rat. It's kind of the guy we always expect him to be. I think Baseball Reference B-War will a lot of times overrate second base defense. I think it's their biggest flaw of B-War for hitters on Baseball Reference. And Jimenez and guys like I can't remember his name. I can't remember what the hell.
Nicky Lopez.
That was the pesky Cardinals guy who's fallen off. Tommy
Brendan
Edman.
Donovan.
I forget Tommy Edman's name. What the hell's wrong with me? God,
It's a long day.
weekend. Yeah, it is. But it overrates second base defense. But every single organization for the history of baseball says second base defense doesn't really matter. Like, people just like to put a guy there who could be there. But I still think Andres Gimenez is a great player, even though he's never going to be the 6-win player that Baseball Reference claimed he was a few years ago. This is a solid club. It's a solid team. Good pitching, good bullpen, a lineup of a lot of guys that make contact, and a superstar in the middle that keeps it all together. It's great. And a power hitting first baseman. I wonder if any other team could figure out this kind of method.
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing to say. Play the games, and we'll watch them, and hopefully we can talk more than we did in this episode, because this was tough.
Yeah, this is bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys, but
Yeah.
I think this kind of echoes your feelings too. Where you're just like, if you're listening to this, you're not listening to because you want to hear things about the match. You're listening to because you want to hear things that we're saying, and we're saying, just like you guys, we don't fucking know what's going on right now. This shit sucks. I hope this team plays better. I think they can play better. I'm scared if they can't, and I just want things to be okay.
Yeah, just want them to be okay. But you guys know the drill. Thank you so much for listening and watching. If you've made it this far, make sure you follow us on all our social media at Mets'd on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the Mets'd podcast YouTube channel. Oh, what do you got, James?
I'm gonna check reviews.
Oh, yeah, check reviews. Let me do the outro still while we were checking the reviews. Subscribe to the Mets'd podcast YouTube channel if you want to see the YouTube version of this. We're going to drop some exclusive content again this week on YouTube only, so make sure you are subscribed over there. And if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever it is, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download and subscribe. Of course, James is going to read out if we do have any reviews.
None this week. First time all season we have a new one, so I think people are really checked out of the Mets.
Yeah, I don't blame them. It's been a big week for every other New York sport as well. So, guys, thank you so much. Make sure you follow James on Twitter at
James_Shiano.
me at Draftnik Mark with a C. We will catch you on the next episode. Peace out.
Peace out. See you guys next time. Let's go, Rangers.